Late at night, the city feels quieter than usual, and the streetlights stretch long shadows across the empty road as Maya drives home with tired eyes and a slow, steady breath. After a long, hard day at work, her hands rest calmly on the steering wheel. And soft music plays low because she wants peace more than noise, the kind of peace that helps her forget the stress of meetings, rude comments, and the heavy feeling that never fully leaves her chest. The road ahead is almost empty, just a few distant headlights and closed shops passing by like silent watchers. She checks the time and thinks about home, about warm food, and taking off her shoes, when suddenly bright red and blue lights flash in her mirror, sharp and sudden like a warning. She did not expect. Her heart jumps for a second. Then she slows down and pulls over to the side of the road. Just like she has been taught, the car stops. The engine stays on, and her hands return to the wheel, clearly visible. She tells herself to stay calm, because she knows she did nothing wrong. Yet a strange feeling crawls up her spine. Something feels off in a way she cannot explain. The police car stops behind her, lights still flashing, coloring the street in red and blue and making the quiet night feel loud and tense. Two officers step out of the car and walk toward her quickly, their steps firm and heavy, their faces serious, not relaxed, not friendly. Maya watches them through the side mirror and notices how fast they move, how close they stand. To her door, one officer taps the window harder than needed and tells her to roll it down. His voice is sharp, not angry but not kind. Either she lowers the window slowly and says, "Good evening," trying to sound polite and steady. The officer does not greet her back. He asks for her license and then tells her to step out of the car without giving a reason. Maya blinks surprised and asks softly why, but the second officer steps closer and repeats the order louder. People in nearby cars slow down. Some stop completely. Drivers look over with curious eyes. A man on the sidewalk pauses and takes out his phone. The air feels heavier now, like something bad might happen even though no one has touched anyone. Maya feels her pulse in her ears and a small knot of fear tightens in her stomach. She knows moments like this can change fast. She thinks about stories she has heard and videos she has seen, and she wonders how something so normal can turn so serious so quickly. She takes a deep breath and keeps her voice calm as she asks again why she needs to step out. The officers do not answer. Instead, one reaches for the door handle and opens it. The sound of the door opening fills loud in the quiet night. Maya steps out slowly, just like she was told. Her movements careful, her hands visible, her face calm even though her mind races. She stands beside the car and feels the cold night air against her skin. The officers stand close to close, their presence strong and watchful, and the way they look at her makes her feel smaller. Even though she stands tall, more people are watching now. The red and blue lights reflect off faces, windows, and the pavement, creating a strange scene that feels unreal, like a movie. But this is her life, and this is happening now. Maya takes another breath and focuses on staying calm. She tells herself that fear will not help her, anger will not protect her. She remembers long hours of learning, control, patience, and awareness lessons that taught her how to stay grounded when pressure tries to push her down. One officer asks questions quickly. Where are you coming from? Where are you going? Why are you out so late? His words feel like accusations, even though she answers honestly and clearly, her voice steady but firm. The other officer watches her closely, like he is waiting for a mistake, a wrong word, a wrong move. People nearby whisper, some shake their heads. Others look worried, and the phone cameras keep rolling. The tension thickens with every second. Maya feels it in her chest and shoulders, but she does not let it show. She knows eyes are on her, and she knows how she acts now matters more than ever. She keeps her chin up and her breathing slow and controlled, even as her fear grows quietly. Inside, she wonders what the officers are really looking for and why they stopped her. When the road was almost empty and she was doing nothing wrong, the night seems to hold its breath, and the city feels like it is watching, waiting to see what it happens next. And viewers watching this moment would feel the same pull of questions and worry, asking themselves, Why this simple traffic stop feels so wrong so fast, and what is about to happen to Maya as the officers stand there with flashing lights and sharp voices and a silence that feels louder than any sound. The officers move closer to Maya, and the space around her feels smaller even though the street is wide and open. One of them reaches for her arm and tells her to turn around, his voice firm and impatient. Maya does not pull away, but the sudden touch sends a wave of fear through her body. She keeps her face calm and her movements slow, because she knows fast actions can be misunderstood. The officer guides her away from the car, and the sound of her shoes scraping the road feels too loud in the quiet night. People nearby lean forward, watching closely. Some hold their phones higher to record every second the flashing lights paint Maya's face in red and blue again and again, making her feel like she is trapped inside a moment that will not end. The officer tells her to place her hands behind her back, but does not explain why. Maya asks calmly if she is being detained, her voice steady but serious. The question hangs in the air unanswered. The second officer stands close, watching her hands, her shoulders, her face, like he expects trouble. But Maya gives him none. She follows instructions carefully, every move slow and clear, even as her heart beats hard in her chest. She feels the pressure of eyes all around her, strangers judging, guessing, fearing, hoping. The officers tighten their hold and pull her a step forward, not rough, but not gentle either. The movement sends a quiet shock through her, and the crowd reacts with low gasps and murmurs. Someone says, "Hey, that's not right." Another voice says, "Let her speak," but the officers do not respond. They focus only on control, only on speed. Maya feels the cold metal of the car against her side. As they guide her toward the hood and tell her to lean forward, she does as told, breathing deep, counting silently to keep herself steady. Her thoughts race, but she pushes them down, reminding herself that panic will not help, anger will not save her. She feels the moment slipping out of her control, and that is the hardest part, not knowing what comes next, not knowing how far this will go. The officers continue to question her, but their words blur together, because none of them explain the reason for any of this, and that silence feels louder than shouting. Maya looks ahead at the empty road and wonders how a quiet drive home turned into this scene under bright lights and watching eyes. She feels fear, yes, but also a strong sense of awareness. Like her body knows something important. This is a moment where everything matters. Her tone, her posture, her calm. The crowd grows larger. Now cars stopped on both sides. People whispering, pointing, filming, and waiting. The tension stretches thin like a rope pulled too tight, and everyone feels it. The officers pause for a moment, exchanging a look as if unsure of their next move, and that small pause changes something. Maya straightens slightly, still following orders, but standing with quiet strength. Her calm unsettles them because it is not what they expected. They expected fear, shouting, resistance, but instead they see control and confidence. And that makes the situation feel strange and uncertain for everyone watching. The night feels heavier, the lights brighter, and the silence deeper as the moment hangs on the edge of something bigger, something no one can yet name. As Maya stands there under the flashing lights with the cold air pressing against her skin, her mind begins to turn inward, even though her face stays calm on the outside. She listens to the sounds around her, the low voices of the officers, the distant hum of cars, the quiet clicks of phones recording, but she does not let those sounds control her. Instead, she focuses on her breathing, slow and steady, just like she was taught years ago. Her calm is not an accident. It is something she learned the hard way through moments of fear, challenge, and deep self-work long before this night, long before this road and these officers. She remembers a younger version of herself, someone who once reacted quickly when scared, someone who once believed that raising her voice was the only way to be heard. Those memories feel far away, now replaced by lessons that shaped her into who she is today. She remembers the first time she learned that real strength is quiet, not loud, that control is more powerful. Then those lessons came from long hours of training rooms, filled with silence, discipline, and focus places, where she learned to understand her body, her thoughts, and her reactions. She was taught that danger does not always look violent sometimes. It looks like confusion, authority, and pressure all mixed together, and that surviving those moments requires awareness, not fear. As the officers continued to stand close, Maya notices small details, the way one officer shifts his weight, the way the other avoids eye contact, the way they raise. Questions feel rushed and unclear. She realizes they are not fully sure themselves, and that knowledge gives her a quiet sense of balance, not power over them, but control over herself. She remembers a voice from her past, saying, "Stay present, stay calm, stay aware." She follows that advice now, grounding herself in the moment, feeling her feet on the road, her breath in her chest, her thoughts slowing down. She does not think about what could happen next. She focuses only on what is happening now. The officers ask her to explain again where she is coming from, and she answers clearly, without anger, without fear, her voice steady like still water. This surprises them, and she can feel the shift even if it is small. People watching seem to notice it too, because the crowd grows quieter, less whispering, more waiting, as if they sense something important unfolding. Maya's calm becomes a mirror, forcing everyone to look at the situation more closely. She thinks about why she chose to learn control. In the first place, it was not about fighting or proving strength. It was about survival, about knowing how to protect herself in moments when others might misunderstand her intentions or judge her too quickly. Those lessons were born from experience, from seeing how fast things can go wrong when fear takes the lead. She learned that staying calm can slow a moment down, and sometimes that is enough to change the direction of everything. The officers pause again, and one of them asks her why she seems so calm. His question sounds almost confused. Maya meets his eyes and answers, honestly, saying she believes staying calm is the best way to keep everyone safe. Her words are simple, but they carry weight, and the officer does not reply right away. The silence stretches again, but this time it feels different, less sharp, more thoughtful. The crowd leans in, waiting. Maya can feel her heart still beating fast, but her body remains relaxed, her shoulders down, her hands steady. She knows this moment matters not just for her, but for everyone watching. She knows that how she handles this could shape what happens next. She thinks about the people she has helped in the past, teaching them to stay grounded in stressful situations, reminding them that fear does not have to control the outcome. She never imagined she would need those lessons like this on a dark road, surrounded by flashing lights. But here, she is using them. Now the officers step slightly back, not much, but enough to notice. And that small movement feels like a breath of air after holding it too long. Maya senses that the situation is balanced on a thin line, and she is standing right in the middle of it. Her calm is not weakness. It is her shield, and as the night continues to hold its breath, she remains steady, waiting, knowing that whatever comes next will be shaped by the choices made in this very moment. The moment stretches longer than anyone expects, and the flashing lights continue to wash the street in red and blue while the officers stand facing Maya with uncertain expressions. One of them finally asks in a lower voice why she keeps talking about calm and safety, as if this moment is something she has seen before. Maya slowly lifts her head and looks at them, both her eyes steady, not angry, not afraid, and she speaks clearly so everyone nearby can hear. She says that she has trained for moments like this, not to fight, but to stay in control when fear tries to take over. The crowd shifts closer, drawn in by her calm voice and the unexpected turn in the story. The officers exchange another look, surprised by her words, and one asks what kind of training she means. Maya takes a slow breath and begins to explain. She says she is a self-defense instructor, but not the kind people imagine. She does not train people to attack or hurt others. She trains them to protect themselves, using awareness, balance, and control. She teaches people how to stay calm when authority, pressure, and fear collide, how to read a situation before it explodes, how to slow a moment down, instead of letting it spin out of control. Her words are simple, but they land heavy. In the quiet night, the crowd grows silent, phones still recording, but no one speaks. The officers listen closely, now their posture changing, their hands no longer as tense as before. Maya continues explaining that she has worked with women, young people, and community groups, teaching them how to survive stressful situations without violence. She talks about teaching breathing, focus, and clear thinking. She says fear is powerful, but calm is stronger, because calm gives you time, and time gives you choices. The words hang in the air, and even the officers seem unsure how to respond. One of them asks why she chose this kind of work, and Maya answers honestly. She says she chose it because she has seen how fast fear can turn into danger, especially for people who are misunderstood. She says she wanted to help others protect themselves by staying present and aware, not by reacting with anger or panic. The senior officer who arrived earlier steps closer, now listening carefully, his face serious but thoughtful. He asks her to repeat what she said about safety, and Maya does without raising her voice. She explains again that her calm is not disrespect. It is a way to keep everyone safe, including the officers. The crowd murmurs softly, impressed by her words and the honesty in her tone. The senior officer nods slowly and looks at the other officers, then back at Maya. He asks for her identification, and this time his voice is calm, respectful. She provides it without hesitation, her hand steady as she reaches for it. The change in tone is clear to everyone watching. The tension that once filled the air begins to loosen just a little as the officer checks her information. The others step back, giving her space, something they had not done before. The crowd notices, and whispers ripple through the group. Maya stands tall, her heart still beating fast, but her body relaxed. She knows this moment is important because the truth is finally being heard after what feels like a long wait. The officer returns and clears his throat. He admits that there was no strong reason for the stop and that it was based on a misunderstanding. The words send a wave through the crowd. Some people shake their heads, others sigh with relief. Maya listens quietly, not interrupting, not celebrating, just present. The officer continues, saying the situation escalated too quickly and that they should have explained themselves better. His admission is careful but real, and for the first time that night, Maya feels truly seen, not as a threat, not as a problem, but as a person. The officers remove themselves from her space completely, now standing at a respectful distance. The flashing lights are turned down, and the street feels calmer, almost normal. Again, the senior officer apologizes for the confusion and thanks her for staying calm under pressure. The crowd reacts strongly. Some nod, some clap softly. Others lower their phones. The moment has shifted fully now from fear to reflection. Maya simply nods and says she hopes this moment reminds everyone how important calm and understanding are, especially when power is involved. Her words are not loud, but they carry far. As she returns to her car, the night feels different, lighter, as if something heavy has been lifted. She pauses for a second, looking at the people watching, and then at the officers. She does not say anything more because she knows the message has already been delivered. She gets into her car, closes the door, and starts the engine. The red and blue lights fade into the distance as she drives away, leaving behind a street full of people thinking about what they just witnessed. A moment that could have gone very wrong, but instead changed because one woman chose calm, control, and truth over fear and chaos. As Maya sits in her car with the engine running, she does not drive away right away because her hands are still shaking slightly, even though she kept them steady before. She takes a few slow breaths and lets the quiet return to her body. The street that once felt dangerous now feels strange and still, like everyone is waiting for something else to happen. The officers stand near their car, talking quietly among themselves. Their voices low and careful, no sharp tones, no rushing movements anymore. The crowd remains nearby, but the energy has changed. People are not tense now, they are thoughtful. Some look at Maya with respect, others with concern, and a few with quiet anger at how quickly things escalated earlier. One woman near the sidewalk wipes her eyes. Another man lowers his phone and shakes his head slowly, as if replaying the scene in his mind. The senior officer walks back toward Maya's car and taps lightly on the window, this time not hard. Not rushed. Maya rolls it down and looks at him. He speaks calmly and thanks her again for her cooperation and for staying composed during a difficult situation. He explains that the department will review what happened and that the video recordings will help make sure the truth is clear. Maya listens without interrupting, her face calm but her eyes serious. She tells him she hopes so because moments like this stay with people long after the lights turn off. The officer nods, understanding her meaning, and steps back, giving her space again. Maya rolls the window up and sits quietly, feeling the weight of the nights slowly lifting from her chest. She looks in the mirror and sees her own reflection, tired but strong, and she allows herself a small breath of relief that she held back before. Around her, the crowd begins to break apart. Cars start moving again, conversations fade into the night, and the street returns to its usual quiet rhythm. But something has changed, even if it cannot be seen. The officers return to their car, and the flashing lights stop completely, leaving only the glow of streetlights behind as they prepare to leave. Maya watches them drive away. First, the red and blue lights gone, as if they were never there, and she feels a mix of emotions. Relief, yes, but also sadness and frustration, because she knows not every story ends this way. She thinks about how easily this could have gone wrong, how close the moment came to turning into something painful and lasting. She rests her head back for a second and closes her eyes, letting the reality sink in. When she opens them again, she notices a young girl standing nearby, holding her mother's hand. The girl looks at Maya with wide eyes full of questions and admiration. The mother gives Maya a small nod, a silent thank you, and that simple moment touches Maya more than any words could. She straightens in her seat and starts to drive slowly toward home. The road ahead open again, but her thoughts are heavy. She knows this night will stay with her, not as fear, but as a reminder of why she does what she does, of why calm matters, of why knowledge and control are tools that can protect lives. As she drives, her phone buzzes, but she does not check it yet. She wants a few moments of quiet before the world rushes back, and she reaches a red light and stops, looking around at the city she knows so well yet sees differently. Now she wonders how many people watching tonight will think differently. Too, how many will question quick judgments and unchecked power? How many will remember that calm can change a moment? She thinks about the people she has trained over the years, and how she will tell this story not to scare them, but to teach them, to show them that what they learn matters in real life, not just in classrooms or training rooms, but on dark roads under flashing lights. When everything feels uncertain, the light turns green, and Maya continues driving, her breathing steady, her shoulders relaxed. At last, when she reaches her neighborhood, she parks and sits for another moment before getting out, looking up at the quiet buildings and dark windows. She feels tired in a deep way, but also proud, not proud in a loud way, but proud in a quiet, grounded way. She knows she stayed true to herself and to the values she teaches. She knows she helped turn a dangerous moment into a learning one, not just for herself, but for everyone who watched and recorded, and will later share the video with others. She steps out of the car, locks it, and walks toward her home, the night air cool and calm, now so different from before. As she opens her door and steps inside, she feels the weight finally leave her shoulders, and though she knows tomorrow the video will spread and people will talk and argue and react, she also knows one thing for sure. This moment proved that calm is not weakness. It is strength, and sometimes it is strong enough to change the direction of an entire story. The next morning, Maya wakes up earlier than usual, even though her body still feels tired from the night. Before sunlight comes through the window, soft and calm, so different from the flashing lights that filled her vision just hours ago. For a moment, She lies still listening to the quiet sounds of her home, the distant noise of traffic birds outside, and the steady rhythm of her own breathing. Then she reaches for her phone and finally looks at the messages she ignored the night before. Her screen lights up with notifications, messages, missed calls, and alerts from people she knows and people she does not. Some are from friends checking on her. Others are from students asking if she is okay, and many are links to videos and posts showing what happened on the road. The footage has already begun to spread. People have shared it with different titles and comments, some full of support, some full of anger, some full of questions. Maya scrolls slowly, not rushing. Her face remains calm, but her heart feels heavy. She sees herself on the screen, standing under the lights, controlled and quiet, and she feels proud of that. But she also feels sad because she knows this moment speaks to something much bigger than her. One video shows the moment the officers pulled her from the car. Another shows her speaking calmly, explaining her training. And the final clips show the officers stepping back and admitting the mistake. The comments below are filled with people saying they did not expect that ending. Some say they learned something. Others say they wish more moments ended like this. Maya puts the phone down and sits up. She knows attention like this can be powerful, but also dangerous if handled the wrong way. She reminds herself to stay grounded, just like she teaches. Later that day, she goes to her training center, a simple space with clean floors and quiet walls. When she arrives, a few people are already there, waiting not for a lesson, but for answers. They look at her with concern and respect. One woman steps forward and asks if she is okay. Maya smiles gently and says she is. The group gathers around and Maya decides to speak openly. She tells them what happened from her point of view, without drama, without anger. She explains how quickly a normal moment turned serious and how important it was to stay calm. She tells them fear was there, but control guided her actions. The room is silent as everyone listens deeply. Some nod, some wipe their eyes. Maya then reminds them that the goal of her training is not to win fights, but to survive moments like these with dignity and awareness. Her words feel heavier now because they come from real experience, not theory. Later in the day, a local community leader contacts her, asking if she would be willing to speak at a small meeting about de-escalation and safety. Maya takes a moment to think and then agrees. She knows these conversations matter, especially now when people are watching and listening. The meeting is held that evening in a small hall filled with neighbors, students, parents, and a few officers who came to listen, not to argue. The atmosphere is careful but respectful. Maya stands at the front and speaks plainly. She talks about calm, about understanding power, and about how fear can change behavior on all sides. She does not blame, she does not attack. She simply explains what she lived and what she teaches. She says that safety grows when people slow down, listen, and see each other as human beings. The room remains quiet but attentive, and when she finishes, people clap softly, not loudly, but with meaning. One officer stands and says he appreciates her honesty and that moments like these can help everyone learn. The words are simple but important. Maya nods, knowing change is slow but possible. As the meeting ends, several people come up to thank her. A young man says he watched the video and it made him think differently. A mother says she showed it to her son to teach him calm under pressure. Maya listens to each person, giving them her full attention. When she returns home that night, she feels emotionally drained, but also hopeful. She knows the story is still spreading and will continue to spark debate, but she also knows that the message is clear and cannot be erased. She sits quietly with a cup of tea and reflects on how close everything came to going wrong, and how one choice to stay calm changed the direction of the night. She understands now more than ever that her work matters, that these lessons are not small or simple. They can shape outcomes, save dignity, and sometimes protect lives. She looks out the window at the city lights, steady and calm, and she allows herself to rest, knowing that while she cannot control every situation, she can control how she shows up, and sometimes that is enough to shift the balance and open the door to understanding. The night after the meeting, Maya sits quietly on her small balcony, looking out at the city. The streets are calm now, the flashing lights of yesterday replaced by the soft glow of street lamps. Her mind replays the events of the last 2 days: the stop, the officers, the crowd, the videos, and the meeting. She realizes how much has changed in such a short time. What started as an ordinary drive home had turned into something much bigger than herself. A moment that now belonged to everyone watching. She sips her tea slowly, letting the warmth spread through her hands and chest, grounding her. Maya thinks about the people who recorded the video, those who shared it online, and those who will watch it over and over. Some will focus on fear, some on anger, but others, she hopes, will notice calm, courage, and the power of awareness. She knows that moments like these stay with people, not because of violence, but because of choice, the choice to respond with control instead of panic. Her phone buzzes again. She hesitates before picking it up, expecting another wave of comments, notifications, and messages. But instead of diving in immediately, she scrolls slowly, carefully. There are messages from strangers thanking her for showing strength, messages from friends telling her how proud they are, and messages from students inspired to take her lessons seriously. Maya smiles softly, a quiet satisfaction filling her chest. She feels proud, not in a loud way, but in a deep, grounded way. She knows she stayed true to herself and her principles. Maya's thoughts drift back to the officers. She wonders how they felt, seeing someone respond to a tense situation with calm and control instead of fear or anger. She hopes the experience stayed with them, that they will think twice the next time a similar situation arises. She hopes it changed their perspective, even in a small way. The truth is, she cannot control them or what they do in the future. But she can hope that calm leaves a mark, the same way it has marked her dot, as she watches the city lights flicker in the distance. Her mind drifts to the people who watched her last night. The crowd on the street, the neighbors, the people online. She thinks about how her actions might influence them. Sometimes, all it takes is one moment of quiet courage to inspire someone else to act differently. Maya knows this because she has seen it in her students. A single lesson, a single demonstration, can change how someone thinks, how they respond, and sometimes even how they survive. Her phone buzzes again, this time with a message from one of her students. It reads, "I watched the video again. I want to learn what you taught. I don't want to freeze next time something scary happens." Maya's heart tightens slightly, a mix of pride and responsibility. Every moment, every lesson matters. This student's words remind her why she does what she does, not for fame, not for attention, but so that people know they have power. Even when it seems like everything is out of control, Maya leans back, closing her eyes for a moment. She remembers how fear had crept into her chest during the stop, how her heart had raced, and yet she had stayed calm. That calm was not accidental. It was the result of years of preparation, self-discipline, and training. She realizes that the world needs more of these lessons, not just in classes or workshops, but lived in the real world where choices matter. She had turned a potentially dangerous moment into a teaching moment for herself, the officers, the crowd, and even strangers online who would watch the video tomorrow. She opens her eyes and looks at the dark streets below. The night is quiet now, and she feels a sense of peace she did not have yesterday. The city hums softly in the distance, cars moving, lights flickering, and somewhere someone walks home safely because she handled herself with care and control. Maya knows she cannot change everything, cannot prevent every tense encounter, but she can control her actions. And sometimes that is enough to shift the balance. Her mind drifts one last time to the lesson. She wants people to remember, calm is power, knowledge is protection, and control can prevent chaos. She knows the video will continue to circulate, The people will continue to discuss it, debate it, and analyze it. She accepts that. What matters most is the message, the quiet strength, the measured calm, the choice to act thoughtfully, even when fear is close. She hopes that anyone watching will pause, breathe, and think before reacting. That hope feels heavy, important, and real. Finally, Maya stands, stretches, and looks at the stars above. The city below is peaceful now, the flashing lights of yesterday a memory fading into calm. She whispers to herself, almost like a promise, "This is why I train. This is why I stay strong. Calm can change the world." She feels a quiet smile on her lips, a warmth in her chest. The night will pass, the video will spread, the discussions will continue. But she knows this. She showed that one person's calm, one person's courage, and one person's clear mind can turn a frightening moment into a lesson for many. She turns and walks back into her home, closing the door gently behind her. The room is warm, safe, and quiet. Maya takes a deep breath, finally letting herself relax fully. She knows she cannot predict what tomorrow will bring, but she can control how she faces it. And that knowledge, that calm strength, is enough to carry her forward into any challenge, any tense moment, and any story that life chooses to throw her way. The screen fades in her mind, the flashing lights, the officers, the crowd, and herself standing calm, poised, in control. She smiles softly, knowing this image, this moment, will stay with her and with everyone who saw it. A reminder that strength is measured not by violence or fear, but by quiet courage, awareness, and the power to stay calm when it matters most. The days after the incident pass quietly at first, but Maya feels a lingering energy she cannot ignore. Even though she has returned to her normal routine, the memory of the stop and the flashing lights follows her like a shadow. Every time she walks outside, every time a car passes too close, she remembers the tension, the control, the silence before words were exchanged. It is not fear anymore. It is awareness, a kind of alertness that stays with her. She knows she has changed, and she also senses the world around her has changed. Even in small ways, Maya students call her more frequently now, asking for advice, sharing their own fears, and telling her how the video of the night has inspired them. She listens to every story with care, answering gently, emphasizing calm, patience, and awareness. Every message reminds her that one night, one choice, one moment of calm can ripple far beyond what she imagines. But there is another feeling to a quiet curiosity. Who else is watching? Who else is learning from this without reaching out? One evening, as she returns home from her training center, Maya notices a new car parked across the street. She hesitates for a moment, noting the license plate and the way the vehicle is positioned. Something about it feels deliberate, though she cannot be sure. She takes a deep breath and keeps walking, reminding herself not to let fear guide her steps. Yet, an uneasy question lingers in her mind. Could the incident have sparked more attention than she realized? The next morning, her phone lights up with dozens of notifications from news outlets, social media accounts, and strangers tagging her in videos. Some videos show her calmly explaining her training. Others show the officers stepping back, the crowd watching in awe. Most comments are supportive, but some are curious, even critical. A few hint at deeper questions. Who was Maya really? Why was she trained this way? What will happen if others try to challenge her? The curiosity is palpable, and Maya feels the weight of being suddenly watched on a much larger stage. She realizes that her story is no longer just hers. It belongs to everyone who saw it, everyone who learned from it, and everyone who's asking questions about courage, awareness, and control. That thought is both empowering and frightening. She knows she must continue to live with integrity, because any misstep now could be misunderstood. But she also knows the lessons she teaches: calm, focus, and careful awareness are more necessary than ever. That night, Maya reviews the video footage again. She watches herself step out of the car, remain calm, and speak clearly. She watches the officers' expressions change, their postures soften. She watches the crowd respond. Each second is a reminder of what can happen when preparation meets opportunity, when knowledge meets choice. She realizes that this video is more than a viral moment. It is a teaching moment that could influence thousands, maybe millions, if shared widely. Suddenly, she feels a tap on her window. Startled, she looks outside. A young woman stands there holding a small notebook and a pen. I saw what happened last night," the woman says nervously. "I want to learn. Can you teach me?" Maya smiles softly and gestures for her to come inside. In that moment, she understands the real power of her actions. One moment of courage can spark others to take action, to learn, to grow stronger. As the night deepens, Maya and her new student sit together, reviewing lessons, practicing breathing, and discussing awareness. The world outside her small home continues to move: cars passing, distant sirens, occasional laughter. But inside, there is focus, calm, and a sense of purpose. Maya knows that the incident will continue to ripple outward, that more people will be inspired, questioned, or challenged. But she also knows that for every ripple, there is the choice of calm, control, and clarity, a choice she will continue to make.